Let's go to work, 'cause I'm tripping. Gotta work on myself, 'cause I'm falling apart. Please wake me up, 'cause I'm slipping. Can't fight this feeling off no more. But I'm not going to give up and fall. Rise above it all, meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all, I'm never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again, yeah. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. Start to believe in myself and life will be sweet again, so sweet again. Above it all, meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all, I never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go, let it go. And I start to believe in myself, and life will be sweet again.
Hey guys, good morning, good morning, good morning, I said, not good morning, I said good morning. I'm going to tell you why in just a second. And I was spilling coffee. Okay, C-Bear, tell me if the audio is still good, because I just did a shift in transactions. I'd like to give a shout out to Maple City Sovereignty, who gave a super chat this morning while the intro was playing. Had some good abandonment enlightenment from the campfire replay. I am glad to hear that. I am glad. I yesterday we had a patron campfire, and we talked about abandonment. Abandonment is not when someone leaves you. Totally not it. It's not it. That's not it. I know it sounds like it, and it makes sense. And you picture someone, yeah, I was at the mall and turn around, my friend was gone. I was abandoned. That's not actually it. All right? Abandonment is more closer to being abandoned when someone's right in front of you. They check out. They stop sharing with you their internal guidance system, right? That's abandonment. And then you're still living with that person. It's almost as if, you know the movie Airplane, right? Where they're like blow up that doll and he's like the autopilot and he's like, ah. It's almost like they leave the cockpit and place that doll there in their place and then treat you like shit for complaining about it. And they don't even have to treat you that way, because honestly, the discard is pretty brutal enough. But that truly is abandonment. It's when you're physically in the room with this person and they're gone. They're gone from you. That's the biggie. They're gone from you. They're not gone from everyone else. They're gone from you. That truly is what abandonment is. And a lot of us don't even know how that feels. They don't even know what that feels like. In fact, we carry that feeling, that emptiness with us our entire life. And it could take us forever to figure out what it was and how it worked. Man, he just stole a peanut. He was so quick. You just saw him jump there on the tree. And so yesterday we we looked into that. We looked into that hard. It was brutal in some parts. And yeah, so I encourage you to check that out. In fact, let me tell you something. Yesterday, that was a patron-only campfire. It's a group session, right? The idea is that it's a little bit more intimate, and I'm not the only one talking, right? Thank God, right? Yeah. There's more people talking, so there's a lot more input. And guys, there are a lot of people in this tribe, that have a lot more wisdom than I do, especially specifically about your topic. And I would recommend that you guys check out these patron campfires. The first 5 of them have been published on my YouTube channel, so you can kind of get a feel for that. The one we did last night, right now, is on Patreon, or we have a new product. We have something now. It's called the Dojo. You can actually join the Dojo. And if you join the Dojo, it's sort of like an alternative to Patreon. Patrons, if you're already on Patreon, don't worry, you don't need to join the Dojo. You can, but basically the Dojo is going to give you access to all those campfire talks we do. And because they're behind this tribe wall, I think it's going to encourage each of us to share a little bit more. Because as you know, if I even question the legitimacy of a star in the morning, giants with torches who squirt themselves will come running. And we need that dam to encourage the sharing. We want to create an environment where cosmology is not an instrument of destruction. It's an instrument of construction. And so I recommend you guys all to check out the Dojo. It's a yearly subscription there. And basically, I think what we'll be doing, in fact, today, right after the show, we're going to try a Dojo chat. So anyone in the Dojo will have that link. You can join into Zoom chat. You can ask whatever you want. We'll eventually have a moderator in there in case it gets big. I'd love for it to get big. And basically, I'd like to build the exact same model we wanted to do with the thing, but virtually. Since we can't do it at the thing, we have to wait for land. But Brent and I have been talking. It's like, why are we waiting for land? Why don't you go ahead and set up your vision, what it is you were trying to do? And I'm like, I don't know why I don't just do that. Let's do that. So let's do that. So that's the idea. Maybe we'll have like 5 different groups. Like, could it be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Those could each be private groups, like up to 20 people or so, right? And that could be that setting that I think a lot of us need. I want us to explore these things deeper. I can only go into so deep on the chat, and without on the live stream, and without that good feedback, I know we're missing a lot. I know that because when I went into that thing yesterday, I walked out going, "Wow, I never even considered that." I never even considered that. So, what the tiers are for Dojo? David Barsky, you basically just join. It's $99 for the year. That's going to give you access to that back end. You can participate. You'll get a Zoom link. You'll get that chat. You can call in whenever you want. You can join whenever you want. And if you miss something, no problem. You'll be able to have access to that library, and it could just go. In fact, guys, I swear this isn't a whole ad, but come on, I don't do this a lot. But if you want, here, you can, there's a link right there in YouTube. Yep. Well, thanks, Emmetrope, Texas. Don't get to listen live, but stream every evening. Wanted to say thanks. Thank you for streaming. Appreciate you checking it out. So if you want to explore more and you want to dive more, if you wanted to do what we were trying to do with the thing, if you want to see that happen, join the Dojo. Check it out. Give me a year. See what you think. Just try it out. I think you'll find that actually you're not just giving me a year. You're truly gaining access to a tribe. So it's something to check out, something to consider. Today, I wanted to start with something actually kind of funny. You guys know David Hogg, right? The guy to Parkland shooting guy, right? He conducted a poll on Twitter. Would you be interested in seeing a video post every day from now until Election Day with my thoughts on what's going on now? And 80% said, hell no. 80% said, no. No, we don't want to hear that. 80%. 80%. And that, my friends, is the best apocalypse ever. Keep in mind, that's 6.8 thousand retweets and comments. 61,000 votes. 80.9% said, no, David. Shut up. And that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. You guys realize that Zionism is germ theory, right? You know that the quest for germ theory is the idea that there's an evil poison inside you and we have to fix it. That's what we're calling a virus now. That germ theory is Zionism. It's gun control. It's Zionism. It's QAnon. It's pedophile hunting. It's Pizzagate. It's nuclear weapons. It's the war on drugs. Every single one of those concepts is Zionism if you look at it as truly the idea of germ theory. And what is racism? Racism is germ theory. It's the idea that you are infected with racism, with prejudice. What is xenophobia? The idea that you are infected with an unnatural fear of people you don't know. What is sexism? That you are infected with a gender that makes you bad. What is supremacy? You are infected with the idea that you think you have full potential. All of these are germ theory. Every single one of those is germ theory. And if you really want to understand what Zionism is, you just have to apply germ theory. Zionism is the belief that this world is infected with an evil and it must be cleansed. So we burn herbalists, we write books, we decree things, we have inquisitions, we burn witches, we chase people through the streets with torches, and we tell mythology to remove the spleen of anyone that tries to rise above that tries to break out of that. That is germ theory, and that's Zionism. Those are exactly the same thing. There's nothing at all different about those two things. And most of the Christian population in America, most of them believe that they are Christian when in fact they're Zionist. They believe in original sin. They believe that they owe a blood oath. They believe that that blood oath is for a chosen person. They believe that that chosen person is between God and them. That there is a middleman now, a Christ, because of how broken we are, because of the germ theory. That is Zionism, the logistics of it all. And it doesn't exist in Christianity. It exists in theism. And what does that mean? That means the big three, right? Judaism, Islam, Christianity. It exists in theism. Why does it exist in theism? Because theism is the idea that God is outside the world. And if you've got a belief that God is outside the world and you want to call God good, you're going to start to call the world evil. And you need to call it bad because we have to explain why we have a sensei, why we have a Lord technology, why there's a dude going around smacking us in the face with boards every morning. We have to explain that. And theism tries as hard as it can, but it's pointing a soft hot dog, trying to wag its finger. Well, you're evil. You're the bad guy. We have to fix you. And it's that idea of a closed aperture. It's the idea that morality is a characteristic, and that you're not a factory of morality. You are someone who basically just lacks. And that every day of your life, you're either missing morality or you're coming close to getting it. It's a totally different way of looking at it. Imagine if we had a healthcare industry that was going around pronouncing people well. We don't have that. And some of you guys are like, how the fuck would that work? It would work probably better. Imagine if we were constantly prognosing people as well. The entire mental landscape would change. And that's the topic that we're going to address today. Prana, worship, and witness. You guys got really mad. Some of you got really mad. I'm even afraid to say it. Some of you got really mad when I suggested that maybe chemtrails aren't what we think they are. And I said this because I can just look at any crop dusting. Any crop dusting at all. Anyone at all who's in the professional business of trying to lay an aerosol spray over a population has three things that they fight with. constantly. They fight with it so much, it's the majority of what they spend their money on. One is altitude. You cannot be too far up. 2 is potency. The air is so vast, there's so much oxygen around, that it takes us a long time to fully saturate something. 3 is weather. The weather itself can have such a big effect on that entire pockets of the land can be avoided altogether with aerosol spray. The only way to fix all these things is you're going to have something right there within like 30 feet, 50 feet. And you need something that's super heavy. You need a dense cloud, heavy. And that heaviness you can't see through because it's heavy. And it's so heavy that when it drops, and when you watch a crop dusting, it bounces off the ground. Because that's the only way they could make it work. And I know this sounds insane, but I want you to believe and understand that the idea of crop circles in your mind is exactly as deadly as real crop circles. Crop dusting. The chemtrails, the idea in your head is just as deadly as them being real. The chemtrails could be non-effective. They could be completely a ruse, but it wouldn't matter because your technology of belief says so. And I'd like us not to, please, let's not debate whether or not they're real. Let's debate that if they weren't belief, that they would still work. And I'd like to offer as Exhibit A to prove that point, nuclear weapons. That the nuclear weapon is the most powerful placebo ever in warfare. And it took us decades, almost a century, to even figure out that they're fake. And I'm telling you, in the time it took you to figure out they're fake, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because the idea of it is the infection in the mind. And all it took was Einstein on a bicycle with some crazy hair and some stories from the New York Times. That's all it took. And all of us believe that. And so I want to ask you about your technology of belief. I want to ask you that if you're waking up every day and you're looking at the sky, and if you see any kind of cloud cover or haze, you believe that there are cancer-causing agents that have been disseminated into that atmosphere, and that you're breathing in these horrible, terrible things. I would like to ask you what that does to your health. What does that do to your immune system? The belief. What does the belief do? And I would go on to say that it wouldn't have to be real. Now, if you followed my idea of Dojo Earth, if you followed my idea that there are certain people, there are certain clowns, not every clown, there are certain clowns that are in the business of waking you up. If you were to hire me as a clown and said, James, what would you do to make people pay more attention? I would consider my water and my airspace as being primal ground to promote sovereignty. It would be great if we could get people to show more concern and love for their environment. And guys, I don't even have to hypothesize about this. When I was in Asheville, I was a member of Earth First, and we were committing protest demonstrations all across the Southeast. My focus was on forestry. And we started off doing plant rescue where new highways were coming in, and then we were analyzing where they were allowed to clear cut and we were pointing out violations, any kind of violation we could find. And there was a bureaucratic approach to this. You could throw a wrench in the gears of the machine through bureaucracy with simple paper. You could take a sheet of paper, and keep throwing in the machine, and it slows it down. And I'm telling you, the only way to motivate people to join Earth First, to recruit for Earth First, is to fill them with salaciousness about what's happening. And the most salacious thing that I could find to use to appeal to people was the American chestnut tree. And so I used the American chestnut and the hemlock as my personal mantras to recruit others. But it was always the fear that got people on board. It was always the fear of something being lost. It was never the joy of protecting something. It was always the fear. And I belong to the Southern Appalachian Biodiversity Project. And in that project, I was actually an employee of theirs. I can't really say I was volunteer. I was an employee of theirs. I did their graphic stuff. I published their newspaper. And I saw right away how the fight for coal required, the fight for clean coal required propaganda. That the fight against petroleum required propaganda. That I could have a conversation with the president of the SABP, of the Biodiversity Project, and I could say, how do you explain that petroleum is the most energy-dense fuel available to man without like crazy shit, okay? Some of you are going to argue and say hydrogen, but you know there's things there. And don't even get me started on lithium mining. I know everyone who buys an electric car is pissed, but don't even get me started on lithium mining. That if you truly look at the energy technology out there, the most energy-dense fuel there is petroleum. It's gasoline. Yet all these biodiversity projects are aiming their guns directly at that industry, directly at the fossil fuels industry, and it's not even fossil fuel. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't matter what's real, because if someone believes that we're killing our history, that we're removing dinosaurs and turning them into fuel, that's all it takes for that to be true. It doesn't matter if it's real, guys. Why do we keep pretending that it matters if this stuff's real? It doesn't matter. This whole place runs on belief. It runs on prana. And if you really want to understand prana, the very, very first thing you're going to have to do is stop pretending that it's infinite. Stop pretending that you have unlimited belief. You don't. You don't. There are 100 trillion cells in the body. 25 trillion of them are red blood cells. Each of those red blood cells flows through the chambers of your heart and is given a piece of iron. It's stored in your hemoglobin. Your hemoglobin literally grabs iron. I believe it's diatomic iron to be precise. So maybe it's not technically iron, but it's grabbing a piece of iron. It's binding it in the hemoglobin and it's sending it out of the heart. But while it's in the heart, what happens? Your lungs charge that red blood cell. And it takes 45 seconds for every single red blood cell to be charged from the same heart, from the same lung, from the same thought. And so if you consider what a crucible is, your prana crucible is your source of prana. What is prana? Prana is ego. It's ego. The source of your ego is your heart. That's why we don't talk shit about the ego here. We honor the ego here. The source of prana, the source of ego, is your heart. And that's why the heart has a convergence. The heart converges between your breath, your pulse, and your thought. And those are 3 different rhythms. And with those 3 rhythms, you set the will and intention of your body. This is what athletes do. It's what elite athletes do. They prime every single one of their red blood cells. And your awareness, your witness and your awareness is directly proportional to the amount of worship you have. I would like for you to consider worship as like torque, or witness as like torque. You guys know what torque of the engine means? Torque is the force implied across the directional vector. I'm not trying to get fancy, but it's applied to the actual part itself that's doing the work. And that's why it's important to understand that witness is torque. You can have the strongest heart in the world, pumping the clearest, most high-octane blood you can imagine through that bloody chamber. But if you do not have the breath and if you do not have the thought, you will not have the torque. Because let's consider that breath like a gear. And let's consider the brain as the fuel injection, the injection. And a well-built motor has no loss in torque, right? The force of the motor and the force of the torque are almost congruent. And when you go buy a fancy car, you analyze that. You look at what is the torque, I know I'm getting this wrong, but what is the torque ratio, right? And you're understanding how much emphasis am I getting to the wheel where it counts, And personally, I think this is why a 5-year-old can't fly. I think that if a 5-year-old had full control over their faculties, their brain, their breath, and they knew how their body worked, they could fly. Because they have something you and I don't have. They have that belief still. And that belief unlocks the will. Or it sequesters it. And this comes back to the chemtrails. It sequesters it. So this witness is a torque. And Jesus had torque, right? Jesus had torque. And when he applied that torque, it was felt. It was felt like necromancy. He's got a triple nut. Watch him jump. Oh! So this isn't really a class about how to generate prana. It's a class about how to generate torque. Horsepower. Thank you, Ted. And I don't think you're going to be able to have as much torque if every single part of your belief has been conscripted to something else. And it will be conscripted as long as you think belief is infinite. Because when it's infinite, you wake up and you watch Good Morning America and you will say, yeah, that's believable. It's okay. I don't mind. I'll believe that. Everyone's smiling. They're all clapping. It must be true. And you'll watch the news. You'll watch Oprah. You'll listen to everything because you have enough belief. And your belief will put a mask on. It'll send your kids to school 6 feet apart. It'll take you right up to the wood chipper in Babylon. And your belief, it's your belief that sticks your head in. It's your belief that makes you do it. That's why this entire system is consent. So if you truly want to understand how to harness your power, you have to harness your belief. And I'm not just talking. In fact, I'm not talking about law of attraction because it's not a law. You don't have to follow these laws. You can fuck all this up. It's no problem. This is the torque of attraction. And the thing that scares most of us, the reason why most of us don't have our power is because it's working 24/7. It's working all the time. It's working all the time, whether we want it to be on or not. And when you're participating in Zionism, when you're participating in germ theory, in whatever way that is, that same motor is going. And just as you want to save the world, you'll find yourself destroying it. And this truly is the heart of good and evil right here. Because right now, the definition of a good person is someone who doesn't question the mask, doesn't question the virus, doesn't question the quarantine, doesn't question the government, doesn't question the taxes, the media, the drone strikes, doesn't question Israel, doesn't question Zionism, does not question the schools, does not question Fauci. It doesn't question, period. That is what is good right now. A good person does those things in the zeitgeist. And I'm here to tell you that good is a safety net. It's a safety net that we apply to avoid being what we truly are. Guys, you are not good. You are not good. The reason why you call yourself good is because when you were born, Zionism told you you were bad. It told you bad things exist. And because you believed in bad things that exist, you had no choice but to think that you were good. And you probably don't understand how that works, and let me show you. If you believe in germ theory, you believe that there's an evil virus in the world that's out to kill you. You would call that evil. And you don't want to be evil. You don't want to be a virus that's out to kill people. So you strive to not be evil. Now, some of you might go, well, this is great. I love how this is starting. Right. I know. It sounds great on paper, doesn't it? So how do you strive to be evil? You offset yourself from good. How do you strive to be good? You offset yourself from evil. Which means the way to be good in the world is not to make yourself good. It is to accent yourself against what is evil or what you think is evil. Not only to accent yourself, but to victimize yourself by it, to become its victim. And here's how it works. I can point at evil. And simply by pointing, I can be the opposite of that. But then I can add another element. I can find a way to be victimized by that. And if I can prove that I'm victimized by it, and it's evil, I am automatically good by default. It happens automatically. You can't help it because of the dichotomy. You can't help it because of the polarity. And you miss that. We miss that. We miss how nice it is to be a victim. A victim comes with a hammock on the beach with fried calamari and a daiquiri every afternoon. And I know you don't see that because we're too busy keeping victims on the pedestal, saying, oh, no, victims they're having such a hard time. And they're not. I'm here to tell you that you're not good. I'm here to tell you that you're not evil. I'm here to tell you that as long as you look to be good, what you're truly doing is creating evil, that you're creating an energy vortex, a plasma pranic vortex. You're walking up to the herbalist, like King James did, and says, this woman is evil. She victimized me because she tried to drown my fiance on a boat by cursing the sea. My fiance is a victim. I am a victim of this evil. Which means now he's championed for good. He's a good champion. And every single thing that King James did in demonology and all the changes he made to the Bible are now fine. They're fine because what choice did he have? He was fighting for good. And those of you who are like, no, but I really am good. I really am. No, you're not. You're not. First of all, the word good means to be victorious. The good was the man that could walk into town and get whatever he wanted. It was the evil one that was the feeble one. The feeble one was too weak to defend himself. That was the word evil. Now, tell me, if you believe in nuclear weapons, if you believe in everything else that they've told you, Are you evil or good? Are you feeble and weak as a victim? Or are you strong and take it all as a victim? So I'm here to tell you the inversion is so real that what you think is good is evil and what you think is evil is good. And I'm not here to tell you to reverse them. No. I'm here to tell you, stop whoring out your prana. Stop being a worship whore. Worship whore. Hear that? Worshipper, worship whore. Stop being a worship whore. You gave your belief to the ball. You gave your belief to the moon being hit by asteroids and luckily somehow always keeping the same face to us. You gave your belief to nuclear weapons. You gave your belief to chemtrails. You gave your belief to Pizzagate. You gave your belief to the First World War, the Second World War, Vietnam, Korea, all of them. We blindly give our belief first, and then 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years later, we figure out, oh, that was wrong. And that's the technology of belief at work on you until you learn to stop being a victim and doling out your belief like you're a whore. A belief whore. And you'll always be that way when you think you have unlimited supply of belief. And you can't have unlimited supply of belief. You can't do it. Your heart can only push through 25 trillion blood cells every 45 seconds. Each of those blood cells has a tiny, tiny piece of your will. And it is expiring that will. It's expunging it into your muscle tissue. It's giving you fuel to fulfill your destiny, to fulfill your will. And there's only so many. And you think because it's 20 trillion, you've got plenty, but it's not enough. You know it's not enough when you're a mother and you're trying to pull a car off your child. You know it's not enough when you're trying to beat a 4-minute mile before no one else has done it. You need something else. And that belief is your torque. And that's why I fight so hard to restore ego. That's why I fight so hard to let each of us create our own cosmology. That's why I fight so hard for each of us to find that morality is a compass inside ourselves. Because when you fully understand this, you fully trust yourself. And the more trust you have, the more torque you have. I swear to God, the more torque you have. Because all of your red blood cells trust themselves. They trust that iron. They trust the charge of that iron that they carry. And they send it out. And so your worship and your witness can be tangible things when you clean your motor. No more sarcasm. Think about that. Why am I bitching at sarcasm? Why am I bitching that you should say one thing and mean another? Why am I saying don't do that? How would that affect your prana? And I'm here to say that it is... Man, that guy's close. He's back. And I'm here to say that you're not here to be good. You're not. You're here to be real. You're more than good. You're a morality factory. You produce good and evil every day of your life. No, you are so much more colossal than good. You are real. And real is deadly and dangerous. And that's who you are. Real is life itself. And we fear the responsibility of our morality. So we cling to feeling good. We reduce ourselves to good. Or we reduce ourselves to calling someone else evil. And if you call yourself good and if you call someone else evil, energetically, it's exactly the same thing. All you've done is pulled some of their red blood cells and cursed them. And you said, you're evil. And all the red blood cells that can hear me, I curse you. And all those red blood cells are like, hey, I'm real. I'm not evil. And now all the ones that you cursed, the ones that fell for it, that energy is exchanged and it's put into your blood cells, and now your blood cells feel good. So now you have this completely different dimension that's not even inverted correctly. And what it misses the entire time is our realness, our authenticity. And that's where your torque comes from. These are your two towers. These are your two towers. These are your two towers. Joachim Boaz. These are your two towers, and they vibrate. And I want you to think that New York, the island of Manhattan, right? A circle. Every magician has a circle. And inside that circle is a checkerboard, the buildings. And inside that checkerboard are two towers, like tuning forks sunk deep in the earth, and they vibrate. And they vibrate so strongly the entire world starts to wake up. And these two towers work the exact same way. These are your two towers. And they can commit good and they can commit evil. And if you're going to tell yourself you're good, you're going to do evil. Because you're going to require evil from other people to charge you with good. Because good and evil are a dimension. It's a platonic dimension. And these people that are sold on the idea that morality comes from outside themselves, they live in a platonic, satanic universe that comes out of a vending machine. And they walk past it and they say, no, good comes from this vending machine. And if I pay the right money, if I put in the right amount, I will get that. I will get those crackers. And I can come out and call anyone else who doesn't have those crackers evil now because I got them from this vending machine. And you have no torque. You'll have nothing. It will never work. It will keep you asleep. The psychopaths did not put you to sleep. Your DNA began itself asleep. Your DNA must be illuminated to reach its full potential. Until that time, you are collectively afraid of waking up and choose to give your consent to programs that help you believe you have no power. Medicine, cosmology, psychology, politics. We short ourselves out in all these realms so we can remain on the floor. We crawl to avoid our fear of standing. The truth is too shameful to admit, so we don't. This makes the charade perpetuate another cycle until we stop playing victim and arise. The truth is hard to swallow. We are the psychopaths keeping ourselves down. We evacuate our power to ghosts in the machine that are programmed to hurt us until we see them. This is Dojo Earth. And you are not good. You are not evil. You are real. And being real means you are dangerous. Being real means you owe a responsibility or an evacuation to this world. Pick one. You can be responsible for your sovereignty and vigilance, or you can abandon your sovereignty and vigilance. If you abandon it, there's fried calamari waiting for you. And you can point at things and call them evil. And you can solicit your sides. And you can garnish support. And you will never be real. You will be addicted to good and evil. And that's why you get so much pushback from Owen. The pushback is that fear of vigilance. It's fear. It's a fear of fire. Because when you have that torch, you're able to see it all. You can see it all. You know all your lies. You know what you call good. You know what you call evil. And you know which beliefs you start to cling on to because they make you feel better, because they make it easier. And that's what's confusing, because people are like, James, why would a belief in chemtrails make me feel better? And I was like, because if you can prove that you're a victim of the evil psychopaths, you'll feel good. And you need to feel good because you fell for Zionism's bullshit. You think you're going to burn in hell unless you're good. And the technology belief, you'll burn in hell if you don't think you're good. Most people don't like this, but when you descend to Hades and you go to Anubis, right? And your heart's weighed and heart's weighed against a feather. You're the judge. You are. And that's what terrifies us the most. Like, oh, hell no. No, 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 no. And all the shit you're telling yourself now, it's going to come back on Judgment Day. And it's going to go, well, what about you shitting on the ego all the time? You're like, but Your Honor, I didn't. It's like, dude, you believed in nuclear bombs. You had no proof. You believed in all those vaccines. You had no proof. You believed in chemtrails. You believed that your pineal gland was closed. When you're walking around seeing the entire fucking world in three-dimensional, multi-dimensional colors, sounds, all that. But you believe it's closed. So now you don't have to even see. You believe all that shit. And so now it's time to judge ourselves. And how are you going to judge yourself? You did nothing. You sat on your ass the whole time and just insisted you were good. And you insisted you were good by rolling around like a fucking soccer player, trying to get everyone's sympathy to call you a victim. Because if more people call you a victim, the easier it was to stay on the ground. You don't realize how easy it is to be a victim. Because it has such a beautiful connotation. You're rewarded Mardi Gras beads by showing your victimhood boobies every day. You're rewarded for that. It doesn't seem like it because you're like, oh, you're a victim. And that's how you're being rewarded. That's how it happens. Sorry to eat peanuts online. I'm hungry. When you get down to Anubis and it's time to weigh your heart, you're going to want that fucking ego. And your heart's going to look back at you and go, why did you forsake me this entire time? You were so concerned about whether or not other people thought I was good that you always assumed I was bad by default. Why the fuck did you abandon me? And you're going to look at your heart. You're going to go, germ theory? I was afraid someone might call me gay. I was afraid I might get shunned. I was afraid someone might point their fingers at me and say that you're evil. And so I abandoned my heart, I abandoned my ego, I abandoned everything, and I believed every fucking lie I could that made it easier for me to think I'm a victim. And I created this entire network of psychopaths that were here to keep me down. And what sucks is if you do the math, guys, do the math. Do the math. When's the last time we convinced millions of each other to kill ourselves? Like, we're slowly killing ourselves now, right? It has to be a lot slower, right? They can't announce in one day. The Reds are coming. The Reds are coming. We have to go kill everyone who's wearing a khaki uniform. That doesn't work anymore. We're not burning witches anymore. We're flaming them, right? We're flaming them, but we're not burning them anymore. It takes longer. We're getting better, not worse. So if the elite psychopaths that have been controlling this cabal for thousands of years were truly doing that to enslave us, we'd be fucking slaves right now. We'd be worse, not better. And some of us are. Of course some of us are. But that's arrogant of you because you're ignoring aperture. You're assuming that everyone should be in the exact same place you are. And the truth is that you're just as retarded. It's just in different areas, that's all. They just don't show. If you really want to be honest with where we are, guys, we're retarded. All of us are. That's why I don't mind using that word. Because all of us suffer from stunted growth. All of us are retarded. We're so retarded that we believe we're all victims. And we reward each other for it. We pat each other on the back. And we have virtue signaling contests. We walk around flogging ourselves in public with a cat of nine tails, wearing a codpiece of righteousness, saying, look how broken I am. And we love it because it keeps us on our knees. We cut our own wings off at the cliff. We cast those wings with blood down, down, down. And we watch them fall. And we say, why did you do this to me, God? As we're chopping our own wings off. Why did you do this to me? And it's a front. We're fronting. We're fronting on our knees. Because the true power of prana, worship, and witness, it's all there. And it's all chemical, too. None of this is invisible. None of this. Do you want to know why a grown man can outdo a young girl? Because he has more red blood cells. And each of those red blood cells are more focused. Each of them have the ability to carry more torque to get the job done. And if you were to truly look at what happens with your hands in the ether on a stationary earth, your iron at the tip of your finger, the iron that's been sent, charged from the heart, the hemoglobin, which is dropped off all the way at the tip of your finger, is tracing your will. And that iron holds the charge of your will, and it's no different than taking a pen and drawing it on the screen. Except for instead of a screen, it's the ether. It's the physical ether itself. And we do that all the time. We make pottery. We dress children. We write books. We do live streams. We play basketball. We create paintings. We do art. We fuck with people's heads. We abandon them. We call ourselves victims. We steal, we cheat, we lie. And every single one of those is a pranic worship. Every one of them is a worship. We are worshiping something. And we can't admit that because Zionism tells us, don't worry, you're only worshiping on Sunday inside a church. That's the only time you have to be focused on where your worship is. The rest of the time it doesn't count. God's not counting it. God's only going to hold you accountable 1 hour an entire fucking week. That's the only time God's going to hold you accountable for your worship. And we tell ourselves that shit like it's real. And now you're really starting to understand why we have psychopaths. Look how lazy we are. And it's not even a cut down. We want the relaxed life. We want to chill. We don't want to sit there and wake up every day with vitriol. I don't want to sit there and wake up every day and be like, oh, okay, Owen Benjamin hates me now, or Benjamin Balderson hates me now, or Christy hates me now, or whoever the fuck it is, or Aaron, or Richard, whoever, Andy Kopp, who doesn't matter. Who wants to go through that? Who? I don't. I do it anyway, so obviously I do, and that's my worship, isn't it? I am worshiping vitriol right now, bitches, and I'm doing it on camera because I want you to see. I want you to watch me. And sadly, the universe is like, oh, let's set his ass on fire. And that's fine. And you know what? The vitriol I've been facing is all superficial. It's true. Max reminded me of that. It's true. I'm not facing, you know what I mean? The stuff that isn't in horror movies. The stuff that happens every day. I hope that I'm just demonstrating how I can find more torque, how I can lose torque by harnessing or not harnessing these technologies of belief. What did James do to lose all of his friends? Asked Kenneth Vaughn. It was authentic. It was authentic. Richard from Boston stopped having me on because I was pointing out how Zionism is our biggest foe. You can't do that on Richard from Boston. Owen Benjamin got tired of defending me when I released Lucifer's Oil. It was too expensive for Owen. And one of the reasons why Owen criticizes me for not having a family is because he realizes how his family locks down his tongue so much. He's not allowed to say certain things because of that family. And Owen can't give me props for that because he doesn't have the torque. He doesn't have the ego to be generous with people. And the rest of them. Benjamin communicates poorly. That's all he did. He wasn't able to have enough torque to tell his friend James, I don't like this idea, it's scaring me. And so instead of me directly telling you, I'm going to have Aaron release a video on it without calling you. It's not even something that Ben did that's like mean or evil, because I have compassion. Ben doesn't know how to talk to his friends, not his equals. That's all. Who else you want to ask me about? The point is that when vitriol comes, let it come. Don't play victim to it. Some of you probably argue I played victim to it because I was like, oh, look at poor me. And yeah, you're probably right. I definitely have that. It's especially when it's all hitting at once, you feel that way sometimes. It's an easy out. And if you watch, you'll find some people will feed that from me. They'll be like, oh, no, Jude. No, dude, it's okay. You can tell me. You can be a victim, James. It's a safe space for that. And you shouldn't be doing that to me. And that's what we're doing here. And that's what I did to Owen, which is why Owen can't be friends with me. The reason why Owen couldn't fucking call me is because he knew I had torque in my witness. Owen knows I have torque in my witness. Marty Leeds knows I have torque in my witness. Notice how each of them treat that torque differently. Has anyone noticed that I've actually opposed Marty more than Owen? But Marty and I are still tight? It's true. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying oppose like bad Marty. It's not that way at all. I freaking love Marty. He's got a great heart. But I've directly disagreed with Marty and pulled his name out and literally spanked his ass about a few certain ideas. I'm not trying to say that Marty allowed me or that he took it. What I mean is that I was really, really being vitriolic about some of Marty's ideas. And you know what that did to Marty? It made him call me. He's like, dude, let's talk about this on air. And we did. What did it make Owen do? Not call me. And both these are authentic, genuine people. Neither one of them are evil. Neither one of them are good. They're real. They're real. That's right, Chris. I went off on Marty on Pizzagate. Just so people know why. It was Pizzagate. James, please explain witness. Not sure what you mean by that. Thanks. You're at a stoplight and you're waiting for the car in front of you. I'm sorry, you're at a stop sign. You're waiting for the car that's also at the stop sign to go. You're giving him witness. You're giving him eye contact probably. Part of your witness is going to be eye contact. All of your senses are going to be directed towards someone to a percentage from 0 to 100%. Marty does have my back, John Locke. You know what? Marty has my back as long as I'm authentic. I just want to point that out. I know Marty will be loyal to my authenticity, not to James. And that's what I love about him. He's authentic to that. Owen's authentic to the content he can get from me. Marty's authentic to the truth we can divine by arguing about it. These are two totally different things. Back to witness. You're waiting for another car at the stop sign. You're giving that car your witness, your attention. It's not your total attention. You've got a song on, you really like it. You're thinking about what you can have for dinner tonight. You're watching a crow in a tree on the medium. Your witness is splintered, which is fine. But a certain part of it is on that person. That person doesn't feel you witnessing him because it's not strong. It doesn't have enough torque in it. Now, you turn the stop sign, you turn left, you pull into your destination. It is your best friend's wedding. Your best friend's wedding. And he is marrying your sister. And you love them both. You love this marriage. It's the best idea you've ever seen. And you're the best man. And you're up there. And you're giving your sister and your best friend your blessing. You are giving them your witness. You came to watch. You came to watch the witness. You were not behind a car with your mind splintered. You were there. You were there in that moment. And you have more witness. You have so much more witness because all of your blood cells, all of your prana is dedicated to you not missing a beat. You do not want to miss the kiss. You don't want to miss the I do's. You don't want to miss any of it. You're right there in the pocket, man. You're watching. You're full witness. And when you're fully witness, most of the time you're dilated. In fact, it takes dilation to have that full witness. When you're dilated, more of that prana is going to come straight through. Its witness is focus. I'd like you to picture it like a laser. And you can splinter it into a kaleidoscope, or you can focus it into one beam. And where you put your witness is going to be where you put your will, which means where you put your will is what's going to happen in your life if you've got the right torque. And the key to understanding this is realizing all your fuel is finite. You only have so much. The moment you do that, you will start saving fuel. And the moment you start saving fuel, the more witness you will have every day, just at your disposal. You will notice that. There's no difference between witness and worship, I would say, Chris. I have to use two different words, though, because you can witness alone, and people are going to get confused by that. You can witness others. You can witness my show. And the amount that you're witnessing my show is directly proportional to the amount of prana you're giving it. Imagine each of your red blood cells climbing to the top of a cliff and saying, "I died for this live stream," and then they kill themselves and they die. That's what's happening every split second. That's what's always happening. And you could pretend that it's not. You could say, well, I don't want to give you this, but you're still going to do it. And you might even think, sorry, I got sidetracked by the chat, which is fine. It's cool. But I need you guys to understand that you're worshiping Owen right now. Even though you're speaking disparagingly about him, you're worshiping him right now. And now I'm doing it too. And that we're all getting sidetracked by this for someone that's not even contributing new content. What he's doing is just giving you my content and then telling you which parts are gay. And people keep telling me, James, you need to change the subject. And I will. But I also been told you need to watch the chat. So I'm trying. Thank you, Patton. Thank you. Because we actually have a real thing we're talking about. We're talking about the energy, the plasma of who you are, of your willpower. You're plotting where that's going to go every day. You're plotting where it's going to go right now. All your bad thoughts are witness. All your bad thoughts are worship. All your good thoughts are witness. All your good thoughts are worship. And if you think someone hates you, I want you to say out loud, that person loves me. Say that first and then start to listen and figure out how your witness is going to fill in the details, because that's what's happening. People think that our ideas steer us, and they don't. Our ideas justify what's underneath. Part of the reason why we started this dojo is because I want us to work on this witness. I want you to understand how palpable it is. I want you to know that there are people that are in my life now that cannot handle when I'm in the room with them anymore. And it's applied witness. And you know this because someone will be behind you and you don't know they're behind you, but you sense them. It's called blind sight. We've talked about this, but people know when they're being stared at. Clinically, it's been proven. People know when they've been stared at. This proves what I'm trying to tell you about prana and witness. It proves it. There is something about prana, worship, and witness that's here all around. And the worst thing I could say to you is also the most effective thing I could say to bring this point home. And it's the most damaging thing to me to say, and I'm going to say it anyway. Right now, you are worshiping me with your witness. You're doing that right now, and you need to be held responsible for it. Whether it's good or bad, I hope that you find it helpful. I hope you find it constructive. Your witness secretes my authenticity. Has anyone noticed that? Has anyone here noticed that the more witness you apply to me, the more I secrete authenticity? Because I'm terrified of not being true. I am terrified of it. And I have learned to cling to my identity. I have learned to love it. I have learned to ground from it. I have learned to harness all my torque and power from it. And it has happened so effectively. I can turn people around in their cars through my voice. I can change their vector through time and space. I've seen it happen. And we can say, oh, that's because you're arrogant. Or I don't care if you think I'm arrogant. I just want you to see the authenticity of it. That's all I want you to see. I don't care if you hate it. I don't care how much you dislike me. I just want you to see the authenticity of it. I am a trebuchet, and I only work with you. You understand a trebuchet? Catapult? I'm only harnessed through your secretion of my authenticity, and that only happens through the worship. That only happens through this witness campaign. And I witness you as much as I can in chat. I try. Like right now, I can only see YouTube chat, which stinks. Guys, we're going to get that fixed. But right now, I have to jump back between the two. But that's how this technology works. And we can get better at it. We can learn this stuff. And I want you to consider joining the dojo to try. Because it's a good group. It's a good group. I've just placed a link to it there. And it'll be, well, look at the talks and see for yourself. I'm going to paint it up for you. You can see it, exactly what they are. James, if you'd explain the etymology of wines and secrete, etc., people would be able to relate to your message more, make it more applicable if people understood context. Well, I'm not a big etymology guy. I've talked about that yesterday. But to secrete something is to, a spider secretes silk. A spider secretes, we secrete our willpower. We secrete love. We secrete all kinds of things. We secrete plasma. We secrete worship. We spin it. And just like a web, just like silk, it can stretch, it can go, we can build webs with it, it can trap things, it can free things, who knows, right? Yeah, Jeremy Lynch. Witness, time, prana, worship. There's actually a mathematical formula, isn't it? Because your awareness multiplied by time is equivalent to witness. Or I should say your witness times your awareness. That's sort of the same thing, right? You guys don't need me to define them. It's just like the fields, the electrical fields I laid out. People were like, can you give those to me again? I didn't write them down. You don't have to write them down because those are self-illuminated. They were a priori. They revealed themselves to me. I didn't read them from a secret book. It's not a secret handshake. That's the regurgitation talking. You've been taught that you learn through regurgitation versus intuition versus intuitively seeing the truth of it all. And you'll see this witness every day. You'll have better examples than I could ever come up with. And I come up with good examples, but you'll have better ones because you'll see it in your own life and a light bulb will click. And you'll go, wait a minute. Me being annoyed at my mother for doing that is worship too. And you'll stop being annoyed because you'll notice I have better things to do with that prana. You'll notice that. It'll just feel better. Yeah, this isn't school. It's unlearning. Thank you, Rachel. I couldn't agree more. This is unlearning. And that's why I can't tell you, here are the fields. Here's the definition of witness. I can't tell you that. You guys, it's right there. The salad bar's right there. You just need to take what you want and you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. You need more faith in yourself, and that's going to come with the ego. Ego and prana are the same thing, except for this. I would say that ego, the plasma of ego, is unassigned prana. Unassigned prana is like virgin blood. It hasn't been dictated or given to a constant. If you have a family, 50%, 60, 70% of your prana, 80%, all that's assigned to your family. All of it. If you're the dad, your entire focus is that. You can't think about things like this. You certainly can't think about Lucifer. You're fucking lost. So when you start to count your units, remind yourself, I only have 20 trillion will cells in my body. And when they come through your heart, they're going to be primed with what you want them to believe. So your ego is unclaimed will. Prana is assigned will. Prana is assigned ego. That's one way of thinking about it. You've assigned it. You said, these red blood cells are for Rachel. These red blood cells are for Mick, or Legion, or Justin, or Kieran. We assign them every moment of every day. And so I would argue with you that if you truly want to charge an intention and a will, focus on that for at least 45 seconds. Give your heart enough time to recharge every bit of iron that comes back through your chamber. And charge it. Charge it right. Track your own progress. None of us track our progress when it comes to prana, worship, or witness. If you could do that, you'd be amazed at how much you're leaking. I'm amazed by how much I'm leaking. And I only see that 1 hour a day when I live stream. Because when I live stream, I have no choice. I have to look at what I say. And I can remember after the stream, I can't believe I said that. Take a deep breath. The most important thing you could be doing right now is taking a deep breath. That's charging your prana. You just told all of your red blood cells in those few seconds that came through the heart, the most important thing I can do right now is give witness to my breathing. You want to know why people love to smoke? Do you know why people love to smoke? I'm not even going to tell you. Someone's going to type in the chat. Do you want to know why people smoke? It's because they're giving witness to their breathing. And that's a beautiful thing to do. No, James said it's beautiful to smoke. No, I said it's beautiful to give witness to your breathing. And if it takes smoke to do that, fine. Smoke is the Shekinah, isn't it? Smoke is the Shekinah. What is the Shekinah? The reason why you see the incense burning in the Holy of Holies. It's showing you the presence of Shekinah. And if you can see your breath, you can charge it, because you need to see something to charge it. A child cannot charge an imaginary teddy bear nearly as much as he can charge a real teddy bear. A child cannot even picture what his imaginary friend looks like. He can only tell you its personality and what it wants to do right now. You smoke, Chris, because you worship breath. I know you think it's nicotine. I know that. But it's breath. You worship breathing. You worship being alive. And that's why it's so addicting. It's beautiful to see your breath. That's why I love the winter, too. I love how the winter stores all your footprints. Everything's a record. Whether you breathe, whether there's smoke from a chimney, every deer, every raccoon, every squirrel is stored in the snow. It's witness. The snow is witness. Yeah, I gave up smoking a long time ago too, guys. It's hard. But I do understand why and how it works. I do understand that. Yeah, I had a dream that a giant bear came down this hill. This is after I quit smoking. And he climbed this evergreen, which I took to be my lungs, this big evergreen. And before we climbed this evergreen, this cat ran up that tree, and it ran up to the top of the tree, this gray cat. And the bear was chasing that cat. He wanted to kill that cat. That was me trying to not smoke. And he climbed up that tree, and he just shook that tree. And the cat fell out, and it ran around my deck, and it ran up the deck right here. And in the dream, as it ran up the deck, the bear followed it. And this bear was about 20 feet tall. And it was just ripping my porch as it was climbing. This black bear, this black tar bear. It was shimmering in the light. It was dripping with tar. And it came to my front door and just went... It just shredded it open. And I was inside, and that was my addiction. That was my addiction going, you're going to smoke now. And I didn't. It took 10 days to quit smoking. It was really hard. The vitriol was amazing. But I made it through. And every time now, I get prana from that. Even right now as I'm telling you that, I'm getting a bump. I'm getting a bump because I'm remembering what I did. I remember that I defeated that bear. So I'm not telling you guys to smoke. I'm telling you that's why we do it. That's why it's so addicting. And if you can start to find breath again, if you can find your breath again, you're going to find all your prana, worship, and witness. Another giant, giant, giant cache of storage there. All right. Today, we're going to do this after show. And it could be no one shows up today. That's fine. But if you want to come, please do. If you don't want to pay right now and you're not sure, check out our last Patreon campfires. We got 5 of them. They're on my channel. You can just click on James True and you'll see them. They're all right there. But if you're on Patreon, or if you are a member of the dojo, then you'll get this link and you can click on it and I'll be there. In fact, I know Brent's coming in. We're going to talk about the September campfire. We're going to... Have I been on this? Yeah. We're going to be having a new... We had our last new moon campfire last week. It was awesome. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We're doing another one in September here on Beach Mountain. It'll be great. So if you want to come for that, I'm inviting you to come join us on Living Soil. There's a Katua group there. You can join there, and we'll do a campfire here. It'll be fantastic. Brent's going to be here. We'll be talking about that inside the dojo. So if you want to join us, I'm encouraging you guys to join us there. And join the dojo. I put links in there. You'll see that there's a tagged link on YouTube too that shows you how you can join. And you'll be getting an email here in a minute. I'm actually going to start it up as soon as I hit stop stream. So I hope this has been helpful. Oh, I'm going to look through the chat. Is there an airing of beefs? Anyone have any beefs they need to air? Let's see. Any airing of beefs? Can we work something out to get me in, James True? Yeah, it'd be great, David. Are you saying that you don't want to join Patreon or subscribe to the dojo? Is that what you mean? Because if not, check out the last ones. They're really good. They're really, really good stuff. But if you guys want to join, it'd be great. I think we could really build something here. Not to mention, man, what if Brent and I, what if we raise enough money where we could get this land and actually do what we're trying to do? I think that if we could set this up now, I think it would allow us to do that. It would allow us to set that up and just experiment and see what happens. So I'm urging you guys to please consider that. I'm doing a free live stream every day. I'm doing it every single day. I'm here doing a live stream thanks to my Patreon. Okay, so let's not say, oh, James, how come you're not doing that for free? Every single day I do a live stream for free. Happy to do it. This is an opportunity to find an atmosphere that doesn't have the trolls, that has more of an intimacy. And having this membership is a way to get in there. So, something to consider. I hope you guys will consider it. I think it could be a lot of fun. So, airing of beefs like a meat locker. Anyone else have any beefs for me? Thanks for your time, James. That's not a beef, Sagittarius, but you're welcome. Thanks for your time and your prana here. Let's see. Anything on D Live? Spreading those memories. Water is absolutely amazing. Yes, it is, Gaia Bear. Hi, Gaia Bear. Good to see you. Water carries all of its memories. Yeah, Gaia Bear's leading the way here in wisdom. Snow is a form of time travel when you embrace the fact that the water decayed is timeless. You're right. I've said the same thing, Gaia Bear. In fact, I've argued that the refrigerator and the freezer is a time machine. It truly is a time machine. Same concept, I think. Same concept. All right, guys. Signing off now. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. Thanks for being authentic. Please don't be good or evil. Just be real. Real has so much more responsibility than all those things. So do those things, okay? And patrons, thank you for being my patron. Remember, you don't need to join the dojo. You are already in the dojo. You've been here in the dojo. You are a founding member of the dojo. Thank you, patrons. If anyone wants to join me on Patreon, we would love to have the help. Please check the video description. You can do that. Special shout out to OKC Bear, my mod. And you guys enjoy. James out.
'Cause I'm tripping, gotta work on myself. 'Cause I'm falling apart, please wake me up. 'Cause I'm slipping, can't fight this feeling off no more. But I'm not going to give up and fall. Rise above the door, meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all, I'm never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again, yeah. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. I start to believe in myself and life will be sweet again, so sweet again. Above it all.